This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 42.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host. He could eat barbecue every day of his life, Clay Trader.
A little fun fact, I think this has come out before, but I used to live in Kansas City out of school. When I graduated from Ohio State, I was hired by Honeywell, ticker symbol HON, and their plant was out in Kansas City. So my wife and I lived there, I think like 3 years before moving to Michigan. But Kansas City, if you're not aware, a pretty famous spot for barbecue. And I had already liked barbecue before I moved out there, but that just compounded the fact. And in fact, as of this recording, a couple months ago, I was back out in Kansas City to kind of visit some people and just check things out. And the barbecue is just as good. There was a couple new places, but barbecue is a place or is a thing that I could eat all the time. I don't care the time or the place. I'm eating barbecue and all barbecue. It's a fantastic invention. Ches is our co-host, and he's a surfer boy. He's out in Southern California for you new listeners. Ches, do you guys have barbecue out there? And I knew you grew up in Chicago, so tell us about the Chicago barbecue scene, if there is one.
I was going to say barbecue's not my thing, but what is my thing is I could eat pizza every single day of the week, and it could be various types of pizza, but it would have to be pizza. But no, I don't think I've ever had that decent of a barbecue scene in Chicago. I don't think I've even gone to a barbecue place since I moved out here, but I think we're more known for kind of Mexican and with a whole melting pot of different foods out here. But pizza's my jam, barbecue's your jam, but pizza's my jam.
Well, and Chicago is a straight up pizza city, right? I mean, the deep dish. And let's see, when was that? I don't know, a few months ago when we did our Chicago meet and greet, we went to a pizza place, and I don't know enough about pizza, but that place was pretty good, right? From somebody like you that
place
does.
Was pretty good. Yeah, okay. And I'd never been to that particular place either, which is kind of cool because it wasn't there when I was there. But yeah, that's the style of pizza I do like.
Very, very nice. So, all right, well, we have a fun interview here today. I give some pretty bad impressions and some accents and all that sort of stuff, but we talk with Jaime, and he goes by the same name in the chat room, and he was on a pretty crazy journey in terms of where he started and then where he went and then where he went again and then where he ended up. It was kind of a little backwards, but still a lot of little good nuggets of wisdom. He makes one comment where it sounds like I may just be nitpicking at the words, but it's actually super, super important to show what Ches calls market maturity, which I was like, wow, Ches, that's good. That's deep. But yeah,
I thought you'd like that one.
I did, and I'm a little jealous that I didn't think of it on my own. But Jaime gives a great kind of synopsis of his journey, and there's definitely some things that I think people can relate to and learn from. So let's just hop right in and hear from Jaime. All right, Jaime, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It is good to have you here. We had a few little technical difficulties. I asked if you were dragging around a dead body because there are some thumbs and stuff like that, but you're not in the mafia or anything, right? You're not burying a dead body as we do this?
Nope.
Okay, so we have that on the record, that nothing shady's going on in the background.
I mean, we can see some stuff on the camera here that's a little bit questionable, but I guess we'll leave that off.
Yeah, I was wondering whose socks and feet those are, but I guess I won't bring that up. So, but seriously, Jaime, thank you for joining us, and we'll just hop right in. So, what got you interested in the stock market, and what kind of made you want to decide to take things into your own hands and get pretty active in it?
I joined the Navy 3 weeks after September 11th, and so once I had joined the Navy, I went in right after high school in June, and then right after they tell us that we need a credit card, they tell us that we should get a retirement account, which was the thrift savings plan. And so when they told us about that, everybody just did what they were basically telling us to do. So I opened one of those and maxed it out with 10% for what you were allowed to do then.
So you kind of put this in this account now, and I know it's all kind of managed for you and stuff like that. So obviously this is, I'm assuming, just your first kind of introduction to the market. This is the first time you've ever had kind of money on there, because obviously, you joined up at a relatively young age. So I don't know many kids, under the age of 18 who have had a retirement account or anything like that.
Yeah, it was something that was popular at that time. So we, I signed up and
You pretty much
you didn't
just did what
really.
you pretty much just did what they told you then. At that point, I mean, you were in the military, so at that point, it's you probably fell into the routine of, all right, they say jump, you say how high. Is that essentially how it went?
Yes, and you can't. I wasn't even able to. We were all putting money away every single 2 weeks, and we were still in boot camp. And then I went to school after that, and then that whole time I pretty much had no access to it. It was just all kind of going bye bye, and I never really seen where it went. And so it wasn't until I got out of A school when they teach you your trade that I actually opened it up, and it's like, oh, that's where all my money is.
Gotcha, gotcha. Just out of curiosity, what year did you graduate high school?
I graduated 2002.
As did I. So you must be about 32 years old then, I'm guessing, right?
Yep.
And if my math, okay. So hey, we graduated in the same year from high school because you said the 9/11 thing. That was right when I was a senior in high school. So your money went. When you said your money went bye bye, do you mean it like disappeared, or you just didn't necessarily know where it was? What do you mean by that?
No, we signed up for the retirement fund, and it's called the thrift savings plan. It's kind of like a 401k, and every every month we had 10% of it of our pay would go into this account. And then it's a general fund where there's like five different funds that you can participate in.
Right. So when you said bye bye, you didn't mean that the money just totally disappeared, like your funds were going to zero or anything. It went bye bye in terms of kind of out of your paycheck. Is that what you meant by that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. At first, I was like, "Wait, what kind of funds are they putting you in? If your money just totally, what are these like penny stock funds? I mean, Ches would probably invest in one of those. I mean, isn't that what you did?
How do you know I'm not invested in some right now? I
That's
can't
true.
actually, tell you
Aren't you a
guys.
fund manager or one of those?
Yeah,
MINE.
I'm not
Yeah,
legally allowed to disclose, all
that's
the holdings that we have in my penny stock fund, right?
yeah, that's true. So, all right, well, you're kind of, in the military right now. Your money, I guess I don't know, let's hop to there. When did you kind of start to actually focus on that money and think to yourself, there might be some sort of better way? At what point did all that stuff kind of start to unfold?
It was actually it'd probably be about 2003. My first duty station was in Italy on a ship, and that's when I started getting my statements, and then I was looking at it, and then I didn't know anything about candlesticks or anything because they just have the line graphs on
Oh
their
yeah,
charts.
the
And
lines.
so I decided to figure out what these five funds were and how they were invested. And so that's when I found out about which fund meant which. Um, and so then I decided to see if I could find the top and find the bottom of these. And I would, it's called interfund transfer. You didn't really sell your shares or anything. You just transferred everything and you assign a percentage of what you want in each fund. Well, anyways, after about 2 months, I got in trouble for doing too many interfund transfers, and so I pretty much kind of laid back after that. And
So here's Jamie trying to day trade on his 401k account,
That's the first
and
thing I heard was pattern day trading rule, but it was, yeah.
yeah, but it's not even pattern day trading rules because it's in a 401k, and I can just see, the people who manage the money over there sitting in an office going, what is this guy doing? 20 something transfers or something. We got to tell this guy to pipe down. But yeah, that's interesting. So he kind of had the bug without even knowing he kind of had the bug to do this trading stuff. But that's pretty cool. So
and you couldn't even do it till the end of the day was already over, and so it was like, so you're like, oh,
perfect.
this kind of looks like it's a top. And so my favorite one is I used to be in a called iFund, and that's like the whole Asia market, and then the other one was like the C or the S fund, and that's the S&P 500. So I used to try and find the top of those and sell them and switch everything into a general fund until they came down 3 or 4% and then buy back in.
Nice, nice. So where did you go from here? You get this notice, like Ches was saying, you're basically day trading your, retirement stuff, and they're like, no, this is not how that works. So at that point going forward, I mean, what was your next steps? Where did you go from here?
Well, I got out of the Navy in 2005 and then went to college. And I pretty much forgot about the market and my whole account that until about 2012.
So what kind of time lapse was that? I mean, I kind of lost track. I know you joined the Navy
So
in what, about 2003, and then you got
2002,
out. Oh, 2002. Then when did you get out?
2005.
Okay, so this was a good 7 year just absence from the markets completely.
Yep.
Okay, and while you were in college, that money that you had made during the Navy, that just sat in those retirement funds?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you go to college?
South Dakota State.
South Dakota. South Dakota State, don't you know? Isn't that how? Sorry,
Yep.
I don't tell you people in South
Okie
Dakota if you.
dokie.
Okie dokie, yeah, don't you? Yeah. Wait, I think that's Minnesota. Anyways, that has nothing to do. So, all right, well, you get out of college. It's 2012 or whenever you start to get back in the market again. What actually made you want to get back into the markets in 2012?
Um, Same thing as always. Marijuana stocks. That's all I heard about.
The 1,000,000% gainers that you were ready to kind of dump your 401k into?
Yep. But I still had the money in the 401k, which was good. That you can't. I
Okay,
couldn't.
so this was a separate type thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
And
all right. Just
so
make sure because I was gonna say I don't know of any 401k or any kind of investment firm that would ever let you, throw your money in a penny stock. Okay, so now you got a separate account for this. You're looking for these big gains. Now, have you kind of done your Google research as far as reading candlesticks or anything like this? Or are you still looking at line charts and just trying to find the top and the bottom?
I was still looking at line charts, and actually, my first trades weren't even penny stocks. Um, it just penny stocks. That whole marijuana thing got me all interested again.
Now, were you
So,
utilizing something like iHub or Twitter at this time, or what kind of what even led you in that direction towards kind of those penny stocks? I know there was a ton of advertising around when that whole boom was happening, but what particularly caught your eye?
um, just coworkers talking about it, and so uh, I decided in uh, March of 2012 I opened up an E-Trade account, and then I actually didn't fund it until May.
Okay, I'm curious. You said your coworkers were talking about it. I mean, because I think a lot of listeners can probably relate or have probably heard it on their workplace. But I mean, exactly what were they saying? I mean, just because I'm always interested. What workplace talk about the stock market, especially when it deals with like penny stocks and stuff like that? What exactly were they saying? Were they making it sound all easy, or I mean,
Yeah,
just okay. So I
yeah,
mean, just were people like bragging about their wins and stuff like that?
yeah. Everybody was bragging about how everything's went up 100% since marijuana is going to get legal here and legal there, and so it's just a big hype of how it's going to get legalized everywhere, and all these penny stocks are just going to go through the roof.
So this hype was not coming from a message board. It was not coming from social media. It was coming from your workplace. This could be a first where somebody experienced the penny stock Kool-Aid at their workplace, not necessarily because most people stumble across message boards or Twitter or something like that. But I mean, you got all fired up. You were starting to drink the Kool-Aid from your workplace employees. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we only have one similar story to that, and I think that was Curtis, and we'll link his podcast in the notes as well. But he actually knew a pumper in real life, so I think that's the closest thing. But I haven't actually heard of workplace pumping yet, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And the pumper he knew was like the pumpers that used to use fax machines to send stuff out. So yeah,
Right.
that's pretty interesting. So okay, you open up an account with the E-Trade baby, and then you say you didn't make any trades right away. What finally made you, what kind of pushed you over the edge to put that first trade on? And out of curiosity, if you remember, what was the first ticker that you traded with that?
All right. My first trade was May 7th of 2012, and it was SWN, and I got 17 shares at 28.73.
Okay, so you did make that comment that you didn't do penny stocks right out of the gate. So what is that? Southwestern Energy off the top of my head? Is that what that
Yep.
is? Okay.
Yep.
So how'd that go? Tell us about the trade. You buy a Lamborghini after it?
No, I sold all 17 shares for 31.66. So it
So you
was,
made
That's
you made
not
a
a bad
profit.
gain. Yeah, that's not a bad gain. A little gain on 17 shares, not bad at all.
and then my next trade, what a couple days after that, was actually 6 shares of Netflix for 72.50.
When Netflix was
Yeah, I was
$72.
gonna
Wow.
say 72.50.
Uh,
That I
whew.
thought he misspoke, but I was like, oh wait, that was a while ago. So, man, hindsight, you should have probably held on to those shares, huh?
Yeah, I sold them for 75.
So another good trade. So that brings up kind of something I'm curious of is where were you at psychologically here? Were you thinking this stuff's easy? This is I mean, I got this all figured out. I mean, how were you feeling at this point? I mean, two trades, two successful trades. Tell us about what your mindset was at this point in time.
Well, I was actually using CNBC, and at the bottom of their page, they'll have like this is before I knew about scanners or anything, but at the
Yeah.
bottom of their page,
Clearly, if you're using the bottom of CNBC for your tickers, yeah, yeah.
well, anyways, it'll list like what the top losers were for the day and the top winners. So anytime there was the top losers, that's when I decided I'd buy some shares.
So he's taking the contrarian play here. He's outsmarting the market with CNBC tickers. I like it. I like it. And everyone's got to start somewhere. So, yeah, that's an interesting place to start. That's
That's
probably one of the more interesting places we've heard somebody
Well,
start.
that's awesome though. That just shows how, like me, and I just laugh because I was just as, no offense to you, but I was just kind of as stupid. I mean, my first one was straight up Jim Cramer. Jim Cramer talked about LVLT, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. Hey, there we go. So Jim Cramer was my scanner. So at least Jamie, I think, got a little bit more original. He was using the CNBC's thing, but that is funny. I just laugh because I can totally relate to, wow, where we all started out at. And Ches was probably trading Bitcoin at this point in time.
I was definitely trading Bitcoin at this point. But okay. So I guess a real question here that I want to know is, when did you sustain a loss? Did you ever have any loss from these CNBC kind of bottom tickers, or what? You're on a good streak here. I want to know when the streak is broken.
It was the next trade. It was
So we were right
Luxor.
around the corner. Got it.
it was LUXR.
Not familiar. Well, tell us. What I mean, I want to know more about the details of this trade.
That was when I decided I was gonna go for the cheaper one so I could get more shares.
And
Down the rabbit hole we go.
so what'd you buy it for? I'm assuming you went long.
Yes, it was like I want to say it was like $1.08.
Okay. And I mean, let's talk about your account size. Did you pour your whole account into it, or did you just kind of? I mean, what kind of? Tell us about your kind of portfolio management at this time.
I believe at this time I had $2,000 in E-Trade.
So did you buy $2,000 worth of this stock then?
Oh no, it was like $400 worth.
Okay, all right. So we'll give you some credit where credit's due. You were doing some good risk management. It's not like you dumped your full portfolio into it like some of the past guests, and like myself included when I first got started. Kind of go big or go home. So you bought $400 worth, and then we'll say $1.08. So walk us through what happened the next few days or however long this trade lasted.
I believe I jumped out at 80 cents a couple days later.
Okay, so it dropped in a pretty big hurry then.
Yes.
So what made
Wait,
you
wait,
want to?
you sold for a loss?
Yep.
Whoa, nobody does that. I thought Warren Buffett teaches us that you never sell for a loss or something, Clay. Isn't that what is taught?
I don't know
over there?
that one quote. What rule number one? Don't lose money. Rule number two: don't forget about rule number one or something like that. So
Yeah. So wow. I guess what immediately made you kind of realize, within a couple of days that you were wrong and that you were better off cutting your loss and moving along? Because most people don't realize that until they've burned up a majority of their capital.
Well, it was the line chart.
tell us about the line chart. What was the line chart telling you? Just straight down, and that was all you needed?
Well, it went past like one of the other what you'd call resistance, and so as soon as it fell through like 85 cents, I was like, oh no, screw this. I'm out.
He's using support and resistance on a line chart without any education. I'm loving this. This is great. Jamie's like applying himself without even realizing that he's picking up on the nuances of trading.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
I mean, he went from day trading in his retirement to using CNBC as a scanner, and now he's using a line chart like a hedge fund manager or something. So, well, good for you for getting out. So, I mean, at this point, did you think it was just kind of, bad luck? Did you think that, it wasn't your fault? Did you think it was your fault? I mean, where were you at psychologically? Because a lot of people, they're looking to blame somebody else, or that was just, that wasn't really my fault. I mean, where were you at mentally in terms of, how did you feel after this trade?
Everything was still fine. I just decided, well, that one didn't work, so time to find my next one.
And how long did it take you to find this next one? And, what was it? And then kind of how'd that one go? And then we'll start to kind of jump ahead a little bit more.
Okay, and so it was the next one was AHFD, which was another penny stock.
I was going to say that one sounds familiar as a penny stock, yeah.
Yeah, and then there was RARS.
And how'd those ones go for you?
Those were both losers too.
So now we're on a losing streak here.
Yep. And then I dumped my whole account into Facebook.
Uh-oh. What were we talking about portfolio management, Ches?
It doesn't matter. It went right out the window.
So Facebook, I'm trying to think, was this on their IPO or had they already been trading? On their IPO day?
Yep, I dumped my whole account.
And that was the day where nobody knew if they got filled or not, and it was just a massive disaster. So how long did it take you to figure out? Actually, I'll provide some context here. So for those new listeners, when Facebook went public, it was just such a hype fest that literally you didn't know if you bought shares, you didn't know what price you got them. It was genuinely a disaster because the orders it was just craziness.
It was such a mess, yeah.
Yeah. So
I believe I got them at 31.66.
Okay. And then, so tell us about this, because I mean, if I remember right, Facebook tanked quite a bit out the gates and then did recover. So how did this whole trade turn out for you?
Well, that pretty much, I thought it was going to the moon. And so as soon as I got into Facebook, about 2 months later, I put more money into my account so I could buy more at $18.
Oh, okay. So you're going big or you're going home.
and luckily, I sold for break even and then it flew.
So
that's generally what happens.
Yeah. So you're just happy to get your money back, and then that's when Facebook really kind of started its ascent. So all right, I mean we've definitely all been there. So this is, where did you go from here? At what point did you decide, you know what, I'm kind of just out here making this up as I go? I mean, at what point in time, did this kind of realization, come to you?
Well, that's when I believe I found you on YouTube.
So you see kind of Clay's videos doing some kind of technical analysis, and is this kind of one of the fresher times or one of the first times you were seeing kind of candlestick charts used? Because I know you've been primarily using line charts up until this point.
Yeah. So that's when I started seeing about candlesticks, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And so that's when I was probably searching Facebook or something for a video and happened to find Clay's video on it. And then I started watching his previous ones and I started looking at the charts better. And
right. So did this spur an interest in kind of learning how to read these specific type charts? Was that what kind of caught you?
Yeah. And so I bought into the inner circle, and I believe the next day I got robotic training.
So you pretty much almost, well, I don't think Clay Trader University was even around when you first signed up to it. Yeah. So to the listeners out there, Jaime has been around a while in the community because he was here before Clay Trader University. So so you got Inner Circle, you got a course, and then you made $1 million, right? Isn't that how it goes?
No, and then I went down the penny stock hole.
Wait a minute. This is ASS backwards for those of you that may have kids in the car. So sorry if I'm just causing a spelling lesson here, but all right. How the heck did you end up in penny stocks?
Well, then I don't know why, but then we went with ERBB and mine and NYXO and hemp and frozen. All
right, so this is when. So this must have been about what, 2013-ish?
13. Yep.
Okay, so this was when the pot stock boom was still kind of really picking up pace. Then is my timeline right here? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, then that makes sense. I can see how you ended up in penny stocks from there. So how summarize all this. Did you come out ahead of all this penny stock stuff, or did you end up as holding the bag on some of these?
Well, I have $66 in that account right now, so
And
I'm holding lots of bags.
now, did you ever take the penny stock survival guide during that point,
Yeah,
or
it was already too late though.
oh, by the time you took it? So after you took it, you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, so we have some N or INOH, NEWL, and
Oh,
VMGI. So
eh,
that's I got about $1,500 lost in those three right there.
yeah, NEWL. We had O'Day. If you're listening, man, please come back. But O'Day was a member in the chat room, and he was just NEWL, NEWL, and we, try to tell him, hey, there's no shame in cutting a loser. I mean, it's fine. Nobody's gonna think you're a bad trader. In fact, we all respect you more. And O'Day just know I'm gonna buy more, and just his mentality was, I'm either gonna make it or I'm going down with the ship. And if you were to pull up NEWL, you will see the ship went down, and so did O'Day, and we've never seen him back after that. So if you're listening, O'Day, we'd love to have you back. Hopefully, you give this stuff another run. But yeah, NEWL. You were around for O'Day, weren't you, Ches?
I was, bless his soul. He's haven't seen him since, but if you're out there, we'd love to kind of talk to you.
Yeah. So, all right. So, I mean, these, kind of punch you in the face, $1,500 down. And I know now you're doing some option stuff. So, kind of fast forward us. What finally turned you to from big boards to penny stocks, and now I know you're doing options. So, when did all that kind of creep its way into your journey?
Well, then I at the end of 2013, I after I pretty much lost everything with the penny stocks, I took a break because I work really busy in the winter and don't work really that hard in the summer. So I took a break for that whole winter, and I guess I took 2014 off too. And then in 2015, uh, in February, I was watching YouTube again, and good old Clay Trader was pumping options.
So
And
You pumper, you.
so did you drink some of that options Kool-Aid then?
oh yeah, big time. Bought the course like right after I watched the one video.
Now, Clay Trader University was definitely on at that point in time. So did you buy Clay Trader University, or you were just still buying, courses at a time?
Yeah, I didn't know about the university, and
Okay.
so I just happened to click on the link or whatever for the course and bought the course, and that was one of the first courses I actually sat down and watched the whole thing entirely through.
Wait a second. So you bought robotic trading way back when. You tell me you never actually went through that whole thing?
Well, I did go through the whole thing. I'm just saying I went through the options all in one. I went through every
Oh,
single
so
video.
you binge watched it, is what you're
Yep.
saying?
Probably flew through it, yeah, as fast as he could.
Gotcha. So, all right. So now you're thinking, all right, options. Were you getting involved back into the chat room at this point in time at all, or were you kind of just still flying solo outside of the community at this point?
No, I was kind of still seeing what was going on, and then I opened an account, through Doe with TD Ameritrade, and so that took probably I don't know a week to get filled, and so I and then that next Monday it was go time.
There you go. No paper trading at all. Just fund the account and hop right in, right?
I was gonna say I did not hear any paper trading in any of that.
No, I watched stuff a little bit, but yeah, I didn't paper trade at all.
Now, to be fair to everybody, within the options course, I have a specific paper trading plan that outlines everything. So it is a little bit more than it. There's more to it than just watch stuff a little bit. Is that a fair statement, Jamie?
Yes.
Okay,
I just didn't follow some of the rules.
okay, so it's also fair to say that you didn't exactly follow the steps that I highly recommended within the course in terms of paper trading. Is that right?
Nope, I didn't.
Okay, well, and
I figured I could just buy one contract and I'll learn that way.
Gotcha. All right, so let's hear about it, because you figured, hey, I can buy one contract and I'll learn that way. So tell us about your options trading when you got jumped in.
Well, when I first jumped in, I pretty much stuck with Google, Netflix, Facebook, Apple, and Spy. Those were my primary ones, and I could never figure out the charts, or the chart moved too fast with Google and Amazon for me. So I pretty much X-nayed those off the list after I lost some money with them too. So
So
because
were
they,
you just looking for now this is going to be a little bit kind of deeper into your trading strategy, but were you just looking for points of reversal or were you kind of riding trends? What was your style and what was working for you and what wasn't?
I was like my usual. I was trying to find the top and the bottoms. So that
So
was,
you would just buy, if you thought it was the bottom, you'd buy some calls. If you thought it was the top, you'd buy some puts. Is it pretty much as simple as that?
yep.
Gotcha. And you also brought up the names Amazon and Google. So the very first stocks you were trading outside of when you were getting the options was Amazon and Google. I'm surprised you didn't say Priceline. So if for you listeners, if you're just getting started in options, don't start off with Amazon or Google, at least at this point in time, unless I do a split. But I mean, stocks that are trading for hundreds of dollars, that's not exactly where you want to be. And I know Ches does a lot more options than I do. So is that fair? Is that fair advice there, Ches? Those are probably the ones you don't want to be starting off
That
with.
is definitely fair advice, and you definitely don't want to dip your toe into that water right to start with. That's something you kind of gradually get into. That's correct.
All right. So day trading options, and I know kind of where you are right now doing more of the advanced stuff. So when did you finally say, you know what, this day trading stuff, I think I want to give more of the advanced options trading a run for it. So, when did that start to creep in?
Well, soon as um I decided that I still never paper traded, but I cut all the stocks that were over $200 from my watch list, and then I wouldn't even watch them anymore. And so I stuck with basically SPY was still on the list, but SPY, IWM, QQQ, and Apple and Facebook were basically it for me. So those are the five that I watched every day, and those are the ones that grew my account to where it is today.
So, in other words, you pick stocks with tight spreads, and that's when you started to notice differences. Is that pretty much the moral of the story there?
Yes, and back in June, July, and August, I I play with the Bollinger Bands a lot on the 5 minute, and I have alerts set up through TD Ameritrade to text me on my phone. So that's pretty much how I was trading during the summer was off the Bollinger Bands,
Okay, yeah,
and
that's
so
no. Go ahead, go ahead.
I'd get a text and they'd be like, "Oh, it's over the or outside the Bollinger Band." So I'd look at the chart and everything still looked good, and I'd buy my put or buy my call, and then basically ride it back until I got an alert the other way and then sell.
Okay, and was this all on the daily chart, or what time frames were you
This
using
was
for
the five
this?
minute.
Oh, okay. So you were looking to trade off the 5 minute chart then for all this.
Right.
And you were you able to do this at work or were you trading from your phone? Exactly. What were the
Yeah,
logistics
I,
here?
I work in the field, and so it's a commission based job too. So no one's really over my back or anything, making sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to. Because when I go home, it's they don't care, and so I uh, I would have everything set up with my phone for text messages.
Okay. So and you said you've grown your account to where it is. So is it fair to say that what you've been doing here has been working pretty well for you?
Yes, for that whole 3 months, it worked great. That was, that's where you know, by doing what I did, I took all the motion out of it, and I wasn't just buying to buy. And I waited until I got the alert. And another thing I do, no matter what, is the first 15 minutes I don't play. And so I've found that the options premium just gets skyrocketed or drops like crazy that first 15 minutes. So I just wait.
So you sit on your hands during the first 15 minutes.
There is a ton of emotion at that time, so yeah, that's when market makers are sure scalping the piggies, especially those who are wrong. It can be very painful if you're wrong.
And it's funny because I love the first 15 minutes, but I'm also not trading options premiums. I'm trading stocks straight up. So it just goes to show that we're not saying that the first 15 minutes needs to be avoided. We're just saying that we're all different and we all have different strategies. But Jamie, we now know, does avoid the first 15 minutes. And it sounds like you have a very logical reasoning for doing so. Now, you said you did the Bollinger Band thing for 3 months and it was working. So, I mean, what happened? Is it now not working, or what kind of caused you to? Because from what I'm gathering, you're not doing it anymore, or maybe I'm just not
Yeah,
understanding right.
it was working a lot better, and then my success rate started to go down when right after that big dump in August.
Yeah, so
when
volatility kind of went up, and I'm sure the not that the respect of the Bollinger Bands became less, but I think the moves just became more violent than what the Bollinger Bands generally account for, which is normal market conditions.
right. And so I used to be able to get 40, $50 on a contract easy, in the past. And then it got to the point where it was going so crazy. And then sometimes it wouldn't even respect the Bollinger Bands and it'd just ride up the whole day or ride down the whole day. So it just got to the point where I was like, well, I guess that strategy doesn't work right now. So we got to find another one.
That's
So
a crucial thing. Sorry, Chaz. That's a crucial thing. Welp, I guess that strategy doesn't work right now. There's a huge difference between doesn't work right now and welp, I guess that strategy doesn't work anymore. Anymore implies that like there's something totally wrong with the strategy. But good for you, Jamie. You said right now, and yeah, that's a perfect example of the markets. I mean, as traders, we have to be nimble enough to realize that sometimes strategies aren't going to work right then and there. But that doesn't mean that the strategy just needs to be totally dumped off to the curbside because it's never going to work again. So it may seem like I'm nitpicking at those words, but there's actually a huge difference within those words because, yeah, the market's always changing as Jamie is doing a fantastic job, just telling us here through his experience. But so I love how you said, oh, it's not working right now, but that, would you agree that you're willing to give it a try, if markets kind of get back into a different groove?
Yeah, if they settle down and we go sideways again, I'll definitely be doing that again.
Yeah, sorry to
And
cut you off, Ches, but I mean, would you would agree, right? I mean, I'm not
I
nitpicking at
was
those
I was
words.
actually going to say the exact same thing that it's very very market mature of you to kind of recognize that you had to adapt versus there's a lot of people who are just stubborn and hard-headed, and those are the ones that keep throwing money at a system that might not work at this particular time and environment. And like you said, it happened right after the market dump, so market conditions change, so it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so that's yeah, I'm kind of fired up over here. That was well done on your part, Jamie. So all right, well, what are you doing right now then? Market environments have changed. So tell us about your current thing, and I definitely want to get. Actually, let's go to this. I want to. I'm going to call it the Jamie Nader strategy, which is your Friday trading strategy. So kind of tell us about the Jamie Nader strategy here.
well, my new one has been it takes a little capital to execute, but um, I I go after those people that are playing $5 out of the money on a Friday on Amazon and Google, and I'll sell them all day long.
We a little
So
more detail than that though. What exactly is going on? And I mean, tell us about the kind of evolution of the strategy. You didn't just start doing this, right? You told us
right,
before we got started. Yeah, there
yeah,
was
and
some
so I
planning. There was some planning and stuff that went into all this, right? So tell us about
yeah
that.
yeah, and so I was paper trading. I after watching the advanced options, I was paper trading the vertical calls, and then I started watching it with Google, and I happened to put it in backwards one time on TD Ameritrade where it was going to sell, and I'm like, well, it dropped the buying premium drastically when I went to go sell a vertical call instead of buying it, and so that's when I started looking at Amazon and Google, and I decided I was gonna paper trade with basically 2 hours left in the day, and
On
And
a
to
Friday.
on a
Yeah, to
Friday.
to give our listeners a little bit of context here. So this is, instead of Jamie looking for something to, immediately go up or immediately go down and he'll sell for, profit or loss. What he's doing is he's essentially, to sum up kind of this advanced option strategy, he's selling what I call sucker bets. Like you said, if Google's at $700 or whatever it is now, he's saying that I don't think it's going to go above 705 in the last 2 hours, and he'll sell bets to those people all day. And then, usually, it doesn't have to be $5 on a $700 stock. It could be anything like that. But the point is that instead of buying something, he's selling it to someone else with the hopes of it expiring worthless, and then he gets to keep all the change. So, and like you said, you've been doing it for, I think we talked a little bit before, two weeks now. You put that
Yeah, and so
live.
I've done paper for 6 weeks, and I've done it the last two Fridays in a row were with real money. So
Okay, and yeah, just real quick, piggyback Chez's. Basically, Jamie's being the casino, and he's saying, yeah, if you want to come here and gamble, fellas, I'll play the role of the casino. So that's kind of another way to look at it. But yeah, tell us about that. So you paper traded it for 6. Hey, by the way, congratulations. You finally paper traded something.
Yeah,
So
about
good.
time. He didn't do it in the beginning, but he's doing it now. So
Yeah.
that's good.
So yeah, good on you. Welcome to the paper trading club. But so tell us about, unless, are you willing to share? Because I know both Fridays have been kind of
Yep.
nice chunks of change. So tell us about 2 Fridays ago. Just tell us what tickers you did, and then what kind of profits you walked away with.
Well, last Saturday, or last Friday, at about 11:15, that was the day the market closed at 1, and so you only had an hour and 45 minutes left. I sold some calls for 83 cents or 84 cents, and then $5 more on the money. I bought them for 13 cents to lower the risk and lower the buyer premium, and I let them all expire worthless.
So what kind of? So in other words, you decided to play the role of the casino, and then playing the role of casino, what'd you walk away with profit wise on Friday?
That was 20 contracts, and that was about $1,400.
Okay, so and for about an hour and 15 minutes worth of quote unquote
Yeah,
work.
about an hour and a half. Yep.
All right, and then so very nice, very nice. So then this past Friday, as of the recording of this, now by the time this airs, I'm sure you'll have plenty of other Fridays under your belt. But so last Friday, walk us through those trades then, as you being the quote unquote casino.
Uh, Last Friday, I did the same philosophy. I didn't enter the trade until about 2:30, so about an hour and a half left, and both times they're basically $5 out of the money. And I sold them and then bought the ones that were $10 out of the money. I did it on Amazon and Google, and I did 10 contracts on each one.
And you walked away with, I think, didn't you say like $1,800 or something?
Yeah, each one was just about $900 for Amazon and $900 for Google.
So you're 2 for 2 so far. Now, this isn't going to work every single time, so I don't want to come across to our viewers like this is some guaranteed working every single time. But the way Jamie's structuring it is, I mean, the odds and probabilities are certainly in his favor. So, but yeah, so good on you, Jamie. We're starting to kind of wrap things up here, but I like to ask this question, and it involves strengths and weaknesses. So, I mean, where you sit right now in your journey, I mean, you got systems in place. You did a very good job of recognizing, hey, you know what, this strategy of the Bollinger Bands doesn't work right now, but that could always change. So you're doing a lot of things right, it sounds like. But if you were to be cornered, which I'm going to do right now, so I'm cornering you. What do you think some things are that you do very well? So some streaks, strengths, and then what things do you still want to work on? So I don't want to say weaknesses, but what are some things that you recognize that you could probably get better at still?
The things I've always worked the best for me is my alerts that I set up in the morning, and so everything's structured, and so basically I'm not sitting there watching something all day long. I set up the alert, and as soon as it hits my alert, then I look at whatever stock it was and whatever chart I want to look at. And I still have a weakness if I'm if I'm at home and just watching everything, because then I start wanting to play.
Being a little bit too hands-on over trading.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's a common thing, and it's probably something I wrestled with a ton, especially when I started trading full time too. It's just too much access all the time can be a detriment. So I actually think it's pretty cool that he has those alerts on his phone to only really kind of tell him to take a look when things are at an extreme. So I think that's probably really helpful.
Yeah, and I do want to just comment because he made when I'm home, I have time, and then I can kind of overtrade. Right now, as it stands, it's about 2 p.m. Eastern time, and I've made 0 trades on the day. And I will be honest, I feel like I'm such a failure right now. I feel like a terrible trader. It's not a good feeling. So, but I am going to pat myself on the back for not forcing trades. But I'll be honest. It is hard not to force trades because the way our mind works is, and especially me, and I've been trading for a while, is I didn't make any trades. I'm a terrible trader. What's going on? What's going on? Now, I'm sure there are trade opportunities out there. I just didn't see them, or I wasn't able to, get the fills I want. But so I can totally relate to that, Jamie, and that's good you recognize that. So just as a word of encouragement, just because you don't have any trades or just because you have a small amount of trades, that doesn't reflect upon you as being a bad trader. In fact, I'd argue it's probably a sign that you're actually understanding that, you shouldn't be just shoving trades for the sake of, doing trades. So good on you for recognizing that. And you're
Eh,
not
I'm,
alone. You're
I'm
not
gonna
alone in that
disagree.
struggle.
Clay needs to go to monster.com and find a traditional 9 to 5 again. You're washed up, buddy. It's over. One day of
Yes.
no trading, you're done.
Okay, I'm over here waving the white flag then. All right. All right. Well, Ches, I know you have a famous podcast question for him.
I do, and it's going to be interesting. I'm interested in hearing the response because Jamie had a really good kind of run right off the beginning. So Jamie, I do have a time machine. It took me a long time to build. Some of the technology is classified in it, so you can't share it with none of your friends. But if you could go back in time to right when you started trading, what do you think one piece of advice is that you would give yourself?
I wish I would have just stuck with the regular stocks like I did when I first started.
So, in other words, you wish you would never gone to penny stocks. Is that what you mean by regular stocks?
Yes,
Okay.
because I think it would have kept me in the market, and I wouldn't have taken the time off I took because of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that. So, frickin' penny stocks, man. They're
Leave
heartbreakers. I tell
leave
you.
a bitter taste in your mouth. That's for sure.
They are heartbreakers, and maybe some. I'm not even trying to be funny when I say that. They truly will break your heart if you let them. So now we're gonna move into some fun questions here. So let's get things kicked off here. What is your favorite movie?
Um, the one I've watched the most and actually own the soundtrack to is Top Gun.
You can't go wrong with Top Gun. That's an
No,
American
Top Gun's a
classic
classic.
there.
That's
Yep,
definitely an American
absolutely.
classic.
And that's a good soundtrack too.
Oh yeah,
I would start singing right now, but I don't want to embarrass Ches or you, so I'll just.
it gets you motivated if you're not.
It definitely can get you motivated, that's for sure. But what do you like to chomp on as far as kind of food and dessert?
Uh, my favorite is rack of lamb or lamb chops.
Very nice. Do you eat dessert or are you
Yeah, pecan pie.
pecan pie? Isn't it pecan pie?
Well,
I think it's PECAN, so I think you're right, and I don't know how to
This is gonna be a regional thing again, Clay. Don't do it. Don't do
pecan.
it.
What is it? Wait, how do you say it?
pecan.
Pecan. Ooh, you sound very sophisticated. I must sound like a barbarian when I say it. So I'm gonna work on it because I like that. I like to sound sophisticated. Like, where are you from, anyways? You went to school in South Dakota, right?
I'm from Minnesota.
You are from, don't you know? Sorry, I'm getting way
You're
off topic.
ridiculous. Yeah,
this is
Clay's
great.
kicked off. We're holding auditions for the role of host.
Well,
on this
I'm
podcast
working
if
on my
anybody's interested.
monster application right now since you called me washed up. So screw you, man. I mean, whatever. I'm going out with a bang here. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
Um, I'm not real big into music. I listen to a lot of audiobooks and or like the podcast and stuff. But if
What's
I do
the
listen to the radio, it's old rock.
what was the last audiobook you listened to?
Um, it was The Millionaire Mind.
Okay.
I'm kind of in the boat with you. I just got an Audible subscription, so I actually been kind of flying through audiobooks kind of every month now too. But yeah, I do that instead of listening to music as well. But
Yeah,
what?
I drive a lot for work, and so
Yeah, that would make
I
sense.
find that time passes better when you're listening to something than when you listen to the radio.
So I know you did a lot of traveling for when you were in the military. What do you think is a place that you haven't been to yet that you'd like to visit someday?
Um, Actually, I have plans this summer to go to Alaska, so that was one of my top ones, and I also want to go to Hawaii. I've never been to those two states.
Alaska,
So,
that'll be very nice. Hawaii is very nice, but yeah, that's very nice, very nice. Are you married or I
yep,
mean,
I'm married.
so this is
And
I'd assume your wife is going with you.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
and I've pretty much been to every place in Europe, so Europe's already off my list. So
Where's your
I,
favorite place in Europe?
it was actually Ireland,
Okay, cool, cool.
and so if anybody ever's listening, Dublin is a wonderful place to visit.
Does anybody want to hear my Irish accent? I guess
I
not.
mean,
Ches
you're going
can't-
out with a bang here. If you want to
Yeah.
go out with a bang, go for it.
Do you want to eat some potatoes? Ches, let's have some
Get
potatoes.
out. Just get out. Go back
All right.
downstairs. You tell your wife you're going back to work. It's
Yeah.
over. You're done, kid.
I just submitted monster.com, but I got an error message saying you're washed up even for this. So I guess I'm at the bottom of the barrel. All right, so we'll wrap it up here with this final question here for you, Jamie. I'm going to limit you to 3 words, but these 3 words need to be what you would associate with a successful trader.
I think the biggest one is patience, because, like I said, if you when you develop your trading plan, you got to be able to stick for that plan and not just trade to trade, even though you might see something different. But if you have a plan, you got to stick with that one. And paper trading was probably good because I didn't do a lot of that, and it cost me some good money because of it. And learned everything the hard way by not paper trading. And
Perseverance, maybe?
yeah.
I'm just trying to think of I'm trying to think of your journey, because you were out of the game for 7 years. So there had to have been some perseverance somewhere in there for you want to give it another go. So you want to go with perseverance? Does that sound like a plan?
Sure.
Perfect. Well, man, don't you know? Thank you.
Okie
You're
dokie.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Do you think I'm insulting? Are you insulted by my stereotypes of people from Minnesota, or you just take it as a joke as it's intended to do? I should probably ask.
Oh, no. We think it's a pretty good joke because my wife's from Virginia, and you should see the looks that she gets when we go back home and she asks for something at one of the restaurants. They're like, huh?
Okay, so for our Minnesotians out there, it's all in good fun. So I'm not trying to offend anybody, don't you know? I'm just trying to have a good fun. So
And if you watch Grumpy Old Men, it was all based there. So you get
yes, there we go. So I have plenty of excuses. So, well, Jamie, thank you very much for taking time out of your day and hanging out and telling us your story. It was very beneficial, and I'm sure many people are going to be able to relate to it.
All right, thank you.
For those of you listening, would like to make a final request here for you. If you are listening on claytrader.com, click that share button, leave us a comment below. If you are listening on iTunes, then leave us a rating and a comment. Little things like that go a long way, and they let Ches and I know that you're enjoying these, and we will continue to make them. So, like I said, little clicks of the mouse really do go a long way. Thank you for watching. We will see you all back for the next episode.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.